So I haven't been doing any videos for a little while. Just kind of dropped off a bit. Sorry about that. Looking to get back into it a bit more now. And anyway, just gonna skip over that. So there's been a few stories flying around about the Tory leadership race that's coming up since Theresa May has stepped down as of June 8th. And now we have 11 different candidates. So I'm not really here to talk about all the different candidates. I'm here to talk about a specific issue that is happening in this race. Specifically, this sort of drug off that all of these politicians are now having. And it seems to be some sort of bullshit to get some sort of street cred. But I don't even know what it's for. Or maybe it's just to preempt the fact that it might be found out for it later on. Who gives a fuck? But honestly, I couldn't give a fuck if they've done drugs, if they've done cannabis, if they've done cocaine, if they've done MDMA. I couldn't give a fuck if they've had ketamine or whatever. I couldn't give a fuck if they stuck heroin every fucking Tuesday. But what I'm annoyed about is the fucking hypocrisy of this all. Because there are kids out there and there are adults out there who have been put in jail for the exact same things that they've done, where they are now MPs. And there are some criminal elements, definitely, like hugely so with the drug industry, definitely. There's a lot of criminals in that. But the thing is as well, there are also kids, 18-year-olds, up to adults as well, who are just having a smoke. Everybody's seen some group of kids walking down the street having a smoke. So what I'm saying now is, those under 18-year-olds, that shouldn't be happening. And it's easier to get it while it's illegal. It's a lot easier to get any sort of drug on the street while it's illegal than it is legal. As counterintuitive as that sounds, it is. Because it's so much easier for a kid to get cannabis on the streets than it is to get alcohol or to get a pack of cigarettes. Seriously, it is. Any kid who's watching this, or anybody from the age range of 18 to 25, will know this, and if any parents are watching this, probably scare the shit out of you, which is why you should be in favour of legalisation. But getting back to these twits, they're all just talking about how they've all done drugs in the past. So let's just run through a list of who has done drugs and who hasn't done drugs. So we have Boris Johnson, who admitted in 2007 in a GQ interview that he had done cannabis and cocaine, where a few years before he'd said that he hadn't done cocaine, but who cares? Then we've got Jeremy Hunt saying that he had a cannabis lassie, which I'm not really sure what that means. Maybe it's his cannabis girl. He had a girlfriend who was into cannabis. I don't know. Whatever. And then we've got Andrea Leadsom. She had a very interesting quote I'm going to get back to in a second as well. And then we have Dominic Raab, who's apparently smoked some, Matt Hancock, and Esther McVeigh. So the main names that people will probably have heard of there are Jeremy Hunt, Andrea Leadsom, and Boris Johnson. So we don't give a fuck about the rest of them. Dominic Raab might be a name that other people are a bit more familiar with as well, but who gives a fuck about the rest? So with Andrea Leadsom, what she said is that MPs are entitled to a private life before they become MPs. Now, I agree with that. I do agree with that, yes. But if she's arguing that MPs are allowed a private life and that private life includes doing illegal substances, is she then also arguing that illegal substances like these should be legal? Is she then saying that cannabis should be legal? Because it sort of sounds like that. It sort of sounds like, oh, don't pay attention to that, I did that years ago. That's not the point. You're doing an illegal drug. You're supposed to be upholding our laws, and you're saying that, oh, it doesn't matter if it's illegal. Okay, what about all those other people who are saying that it doesn't matter if it's illegal? There's loads of people who've been jailed for this shit, and you're just out here free. And do you not see the hypocrisy of this bullshit? What I'm saying is, you're kind of making the argument for legalisation yourself by revealing how little it fucking matters. And there's such a high amount of the population of the UK that doesn't give a fuck about cannabis use anymore. And for anybody who does care about it, there is definitely side effects to cannabis use, and people should be a lot more informed about that, and that can come with legalisation. As much as people might hate it, there is a hell of an argument for it. It's the same thing that happened with alcohol in the 1920s in America is what's happening with the drugs being prohibited now. Just got loads of cartels, well, not specifically cartels in the UK, but you've got drug gangs that are just ramping up production right now. And having it illegal is increasing their power. As much as you might want to deny it, it's true. And just on a side note as well, just to show how stupid the current prosecuting standards on drugs like cannabis is right now. So cannabis is a Class B drug, I believe, right now, which makes it higher than mushrooms, I think, which is a hell of a lot more psychedelic than marijuana is. And currently you have a 5-year maximum for cannabis possession. So this can be in a range of, I'm not sure what the possession range is, but I believe it's anything from like 5 grams upwards. That's where you're expecting like a charge, but there's so many people on these streets who are just smoking weed, and it just doesn't matter anymore. You can see so many people there's people who smoke it outside of cars. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. It's basically decriminalised. Seriously, it's basically decriminalised. Cocaine, all those other things, it's a different question, but weed and marijuana, it's so vastly accepted by the whole population of the UK. It's insane. It's insane that it's even illegal. It's stupid. And then you've got Americans making it legal now as well. And you've got all these politicians talking about how they used to do drugs as well. So, honestly, just these double standards are fucking sickening. And, yeah, do the smart thing and start to put up for legalisation, because, as I said before, that is the best way to stop people from getting hooked on this shit, because dependencies can form from when people are smoking these things as kids, same with cocaine and everything like that. Now, there's a bit more of a nuanced conversation to have with other drugs like cocaine and stuff like that. But with the weed industry, I'd say it's pretty simple. Legalise, tax, regulate. Simple as.